And so as we pull away right now, in silence, in Masail, sorry, just gotta do that. Hey, Jim, Carlist. Do I need to introduce this thing here though? This is the BYD Seal. Everyone knows it by now. There are two variants in Malaysia. The 3.8 second 0 to 100 car, that is the performance version, 200,000 ringgit, or this, 20,000 ringgit cheaper at 180k, the BYD Seal Premium. Okay, Seal though. Seal. I don't think it's a sexy enough name for a car, especially one as actually good looking as this one. In fact, BYD could actually make a good Disney cartoon, a kids show around their car models. Oh, Mr. Dolphin, Miss Seagull, and Sir Seal. I remember that singer called Seal. Well, he's a Brit, and they sell this in the UK right now. I wonder what he thinks of this car. It sounds like a brand ambassador deal waiting to happen. Okay, a bit more serious now. I really like how this thing looks. I think it's a really clever move by BYD to make both variants identically spec'd. They look and feel the same, meaning they look and feel just as good inside and out. You pay extra in the performance for, guess what? Extra performance. But that's it. From a distance, it looks very clean and tidy, but the closer you get, the more interesting details come into view. I like the creases along the bonnet here and along the sides of the car. It gives it extra muscle definition. The shape is very slippery, with the drag coefficient of 0.219 CD. The Model 3 is 0.23, a little bit more. Speaking of which, yes, it does have a similar profile to the Model 3. But then you also see where BYD has added some touches over here to make it more cohesive with the whole aquatic theme. Even though it's a seal, which is a mammal, they have like little gill fin things, definitely some fins over here, definitely some gills over here. Now the back, look, it's a clean design. It's quite neat, but still athletic. And thank you for not putting the whole thing, build your dreams, on the rear end. You get the BYD logo, and that's it. Open up the boot, and you find a 400-liter boot, which is usable, yeah, but it's trounced by things like the Honda City and the Proton S70. You can do better, BYD. You do get also a frunk, which is 50 liters, so enough for some fruits or whatever. And this rear diffuser just looks cool, but doesn't do anything. And over here you get 19-inch alloys, which I think are really nice. They look futuristic, but still quite classical. And look at this, cross-drilled brake rotors. Hey, I think this car, or these kinds of cars at this price, is a bit of a game changer, because let's pretend I was young and successful. To me, the default car would always be like a premium exec saloon, like a BMW 3 Series or a Merc C-Class or an Audi A4. But now maybe these kinds of cars have taken their place. The BYD Seal, the Model 3, and I guess the Aura 07 must have cars like the Merc C-Class and the 3 Series from BMW real shook. The 320i costs 267,000 ringgit, the 330i 303,000 ringgit. The C-Class is even pricier, starting price at 297k for the C200. I know it's not fair because of the silly way Malaysia taxes cars to make them cost about double what they should normally sell for, something EVs avoid entirely because the government are really trying to make you buy one. Yeah, but the appeal is the same. Look, it looks good whether moving or standing still. It's got a luxurious interior, okay, more than that in a bit. It's got a lot of tech packed inside. It's fast, it handles pretty good, and you know what, it's cheaper. It's like way cheaper. Did I mention that? But what should you buy? The premium or the performance? To me, the choice is very clear. In fact, it's a no-brainer. I think you should buy the premium, because if I told you right now that this was the performance, all you would have to do is look for the little logo over here that says 3.8S. Besides the more power and performance, the cars are identical inside and out. And to me, I won't ever need to use that whole acceleration thing. I would rather trade that for more range. And besides, the whole acceleration gimmick about an EV is played out. It's like actually bringing a microwave oven to a barbecue. Both the premium and performance have an 82 kilowatt hour Blade LFP battery, but because the premium only use a single 310 PS rear motor, you get more range. About 570 kilometers on a WLTP cycle, which is more than 50-ish kilometers than the performance, something I'll appreciate way more often on an EV. I would take the 20k savings, and I would take
less power and more range from my 82 kilowatt hour battery over any performance gain any day of the week.
Speaking of the battery, BYD says you can go ahead and charge to 100% all day, every day, most days, and you know what? It'll be fine. It won't degrade the battery any quicker, apparently. With a normal lithium-ion battery in an EV, the safe range is between 20% to about 80% to maximize battery health and longevity. So you have more range in those batteries, in those cars, but you can't really use it often.
It kind of reminds me of this iPhone thing where iOS has an option to cap the charge at 80%. So every morning I wake up with 80% charge. I guess it works to protect the battery because my iPhone shows me I'm still at 100% battery. No, wait, it shows me I'm at 99% battery. Damn it, I just checked it last week. Now, I think a big mistake from BYD is actually limiting this car to just 7.7 kilowatts for AC charging, because the onboard charger only supports that much, whereas most of the public chargers and most wall boxes can go 3-phase 11 kilowatts. This is single phase still. So that means your Model 3 can go from 10%-ish to 100% from an AC charger in 6 hours, whereas this car will do it in, BYD says, 11 hours. 11 hours, 10 hours, call it half a day. That's just too much.
It's actually worse than that. I live in a condo, see, and I can't plug it in at home easily. This makes reviewing an EV a big pain, by the way. Luckily, there is a charger nearby, but I have to pay for it. It's a 3-phase, 11 kilowatt AC charger, but because the Seal is single phase at 7 kilowatts, it doesn't just downgrade to 7.7 kilowatts. Nope, it'll chug along at just 3 to 4 kilowatts. And that means I have to wait way more for it to charge and pay longer for parking. Not cool. DC charging is done at 150 kilowatts. So assuming you find a fast enough charger out there, this should take about 30 minutes.
With the Tesla Model 3, you get access to Tesla's growing supercharger network, which nicely integrates with its nav system to plan a trip. So that's pretty cool, but if you're a BYD user, then you're kind of on your own. There's all these different providers for charging stations, DC, AC in Malaysia. We're a small country, but I can't keep track of so many different charging providers, and they all have different apps, and they all want my credit card info. It's uncomfortable. And by the way, this is a button, okay? Not a touch-sensitive button, but a button at the press to unlock the car. And notice this one over here doesn't even extend out because it's busted. So what happens when your BYD Seal is inaccessible? But once you are inside, BYD, to me, is the masters of squishiness because these seats are really, really comfortable. They're really squishy, like a jellyfish. There you go, nautical theme again. And you look around the interior, you see all this leather-like material, okay, on the seats as well. And you think maybe it's not leather, but actually it is, because on the brochure, they actually, quite funnily, put there genuine leather, almost like a flip off to Tesla, because they put vegan leather in all their cars, which is worse. So you have real leather, a fully leather interior, very squishy leather seats, and you have all these perforations on the seat itself, on the seat back and the cushion. And over here, these seats are actually ventilated for the cushion and the seat back. Hey BYD, turn on vented seats.
Sure, I'll turn on seat ventilation.
Besides feeling, soft touch everywhere, and you do get hard plastics, okay, like over here, center stack and center console down here, you do get hard plastic. That's not a nasty feeling. Hard plastic over here as well on the dashboard, but it's kind of sandwiched and couched in soft touch material, in this case Alcantara and leather, and all this together just makes you feel like you're getting your money's worth in terms of finishing and materials. In the Tesla, you get a very overly minimal interior in here. Coming from an ICE car or coming from an ICE lifelong experience, you sit in the car here and you feel like you're sitting in a more modern car, but not something foreign. None of this looking at the center screen for my speed and navigation, and even with Teslas, to shift from drive to reverse, you swipe up on the center screen, which is crazy.
Speaking of which, the screen here is also huge, 15.6 inches, 10.25 inch for the driver, and a very handy head-up display. And you don't get this in a Tesla, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Talk about interface overload though. This is what it must be like if Apple made an iPad Pro Max Plus Ultra. Yikes. Annoyingly, you can't access the aircon shortcuts while using CarPlay, which are all touch controlled and way too complicated. Also, annoyingly, CarPlay doesn't work when in portrait, and the ambient lighting will flash around to the beat of your music, which is a bit too distracting for my taste.
Storage-wise, you do get a decently sized glove compartment, nicely damped, felt lighting. Nice. You also get 2 cup holders in the center over here. Fits my big bottle just fine. Also 2 wireless chargers here and here. You also get a big storage compartment below here, for your handbag, something more secure. It is an EV after all, so no drive line to muck things around. Also a generously sized center cubby. On paper, this car, the Seal, does make more sense because if you wanted to look at the Tesla rival, the Model 3 rear-wheel drive is the closest approximation for the Seal Premium. The Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive goes for 181K, so a bit more expensive, 1,000 more expensive. Then you gotta book the Model 3, which is 1,000 ringgit on itself, which doesn't count to your actual car price. And then you gotta factor in the fact that you have to upgrade the Model 3 to get to the cosmetic level of this car. Let's say you wanted 19-inch wheels, because the Model 3 comes with 18-inch wheels. That is a 7.5K upgrade. And then let's say you don't like the white color. Maybe you like a black car like this one over here. That is a 5,000 ringgit option. So you gotta add 12.5K and the 1,000 ringgit booking fee on top of the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, whereas this car comes fully spec'd. So I want to show you the rear seats, but I gotta come in through this side because like I said, that side is busted. So let me just reach on over, open the door from the inside.
12 seconds later.
This is why they shouldn't just kind of make everything electronic. It'll just break down, guys. It is really comfortable. Of course, it's an EV. The Blade battery is below me. It's a totally flat floor. I can definitely sit 3 adults back here. Compared to the Tesla though, I would say I do get less headroom. In terms of under thigh support, it's not bad, okay? And the seats do recline more, is on a reclining angle a bit more than the Model 3, so it's more comfortable there. And like I said, these seats, which are genuine leather, are actually well conforming. They have a little bit of bolstering and they're very squishy comfortable. You have a bottle compartment down here, and what I like about this, the seat back pocket is actually kind of sculpted to fit your normal size phone. There's no way you can actually miss this glass roof. A bit like Tesla, I suppose, they want to have a glass roof to make it look more futuristic, but it's Malaysia, and sometimes I don't want to have so much light and just things to see. And anyway, I can't actually close it up or make it darker over here because there is no automatic shade. There is a shade in the boot, like this. Okay, I'm looking for a BYD logo somewhere and I can't see it. Is this from AliExpress or BYD? That kind of fits there a little. Oh no, wait, no, it doesn't. This doesn't seem so high-tech. No. I mean, I was impressed with the BYD Seal when it was first announced. It looked great, and all the reviews came in saying that it was a great car and a real competitor to the Model 3. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Let's see how this works out. And so far, it's been living up to expectations. First impressions, though, maybe I'm weirdly proportioned, but I find that the pedals are too far forward. Like I have to really extend my foot to push down to the pedal to the point that actually I get some decent acceleration. You can finesse the brakes in a way that maybe you can't in other cars that are too grabby. Ride quality is very nice. One thing I do notice though is that if I go right now from eco mode to comfort to sport, my brake regen does not change. Sport just gives me more throttle, more power on less throttle input. And that's quite normal for most cars. And I guess it's true over here too, but I thought they would do something a little bit different because they have so much more control over the powertrain because it's electric. I have all the comfort to fool me into thinking that I'm driving something European, and typically with a German badge. I can't really say that if I was driving a 3 Series, like a 320i or a C-Class, that I would be feeling any more good about how I'm being kind of moved along by this car. If you blindfolded me and put me in a Tesla, I would say, yes, I'm in an EV, but I'm probably in a Tesla. I know what I'm in. In here, I don't know what I'm in if I'm blindfolded. I feel around and I feel Alcantara, I feel leather. And I have this refinement, telling my ears that I'm in this isolated, pod of, I guess, luxury. So I would actually guess, well, maybe an Audi, or maybe a Mercedes-Benz. That's something I wouldn't have thought I would say about a Chinese car ever. And for parking, it's really quite good too, because you have this really clear, 3D surround view camera, so you can actually park it without even looking in the mirrors. If you wanted to, you should. But if you wanted to, you could probably park this just by looking at the huge 15-inch screen and the clear cameras, which also are clear at night. The visibility out the back, because of the way this car is shaped, visibility out the rear window isn't that great. You can see the car behind me a little bit. I can see the roof and the windscreen of this Bezza behind me, but nothing else. Overall, it feels like a really sorted out car. It feels like a car that is, I don't know, almost gone through a second generation or third maybe, to get all the kinks out. Because it doesn't drive like BYD's first attempt at this kind of car. It drives like a more mature, solid product. But it can poke holes in quality with any car. Like this car's door handles. For some reason, the driver's side rear door doesn't work. As in, it opens from the inside, but not the outside. And look, this car's only done like 5,400 kilometers on the odometer, and it's busted. What's up with that? Okay, and bam. That's 100. And I wasn't even like fully down on the gas pedal too. I mean, on the electricity pedal. It's really just, point and zap. Roll-on performance, no complaints, okay? Even if you have 5 passengers with cargo in the boot, you will not have an issue with roll-on performance. It's already a heavy car, 2.1 tons? 2 tons? Yeah, it's a heavy car. Big battery, 82 kilowatt hours. So you might as well use that for as much range as possible. You could literally make this your everyday EV if you were so inclined. If you're really, into the whole EV thing and you're all in. You could make this your normal car, your everyday car. Make the trip to Penang, to Johor Bahru and back, yeah, with minimal fuss on a single charge too. If you get the premium, you have 500 plus kilometers of range. Yeah, single charge all the way to Penang and to your hotel. Stuck in traffic in Georgetown a little bit, who cares? You've got enough range. Charge up at the hotel, hopefully you have a charger there, or just go and find one. Yes, it does have ADAS, and I know BYD is investing a lot in developing its, autopilot competitor, but Tesla is just offering something more comprehensive in Malaysia. This system with BYD, it ticks all the boxes. Sure, you have AEB, you have blind spot monitoring, you have lane keep assist, and you have a normally good adaptive cruise system. It'll keep you going at a normal rate, at whatever you choose, keep a safe distance from the car ahead, and will generally keep you in your lane. It does help with that a little bit, but it won't self-drive. It won't steer by itself, which I think, to be honest, is a good thing. This whole autonomous car experiment so far has gone pretty badly. I don't really believe in it. Unless the whole world suddenly converts into, self-driving cars. As long as you have the unpredictability of normal people on the road, self-driving cars, to me, just don't work. But when you do find some bit of open space to let the car move around and play around a bit, yeah, you can. It actually is a bit playful. Okay, it's soft, but it's not boring. Who needs a 3.8 second acceleration? I don't know. Oh, ESP just blocked me from skidding the wheels. You can have some fun in this car, man. You can. It'll put a smile on your face. I mean, I'm not used to having the rear kick out in an EV, but There you go. And it's making me smile. It's making me giggle a little bit. Ooh, palms are sweaty. Mom spaghetti. It's giving me a little bit of rush here. Okay. Strong brakes. It needs to be. Can you do it again? Okay. Playful. And that's, I guess, the upshot of having a rear-wheel drive configuration. I think it does that in the all-wheel drive too, but in the rear-wheel drive, it's more spicy because it gets the rear end loose. There's no differential or whatever, or like special torque vectoring to make sure that you could actually control that skid, but it will kick out. And that's interesting because I know the Tesla Model 3, woo! The Tesla Model 3, you hear that? Is a little bit more sharp in the corners. It's a bit more touchy-feely. It feels a bit more grounded, firm to the ground, and a bit more like a little electric go-kart. I've heard that being said about the Tesla Model 3 a lot. But the BYD Seal, man, is no slouch. The chassis feels balanced though. It doesn't feel like it's getting out of hand. The ESP was trying to stop me over there from actually going too far. But in that little moment, it doesn't actually feel like it's out of control. It feels very controllable. Well done, BYD, on the chassis. And I would rate it about the same, driving pleasure-wise, as a 320i. A bit softer, a bit more vague. So maybe it's more accurate to classify it as like a C-Class, you know? Like a base level 3 series in terms of handling, but a bit softer. Still quite talented. So yeah, C-Class. Wow. If this can deliver the handling of a C-Class, you know, still rear-wheel drive, right? But also more power, more usable performance, more roll-on performance, more quietness because it's an EV, and you know, the same level of luxury and more equipment, way more equipment that you would find in a base level 3 series, then it just makes the whole argument of why you would buy a normal entry-level premium sedan, you know, like a 3 Series, like a C-Class, just kind of pointless. It renders them pointless. So if I was in the market for a sub 200k EV, I can't think that the BYD Seal will make a worse case for itself than the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. In fact, this car is better equipped, less expensive, and I think better looking. If this is to fill the same niche as a 3 Series or C-Class, the looks do matter. And as your first EV, it does all the things that you would think your ICE car would do. It can go on a single charge to Penang and maybe even back now, maybe to Penang and Ipoh, to KL, to Johor Bahru or whatever, on a single charge. So you don't have to have that range anxiety that you normally would have. But the thing is too, this car doesn't go out of its way, like the Model 3, to be foreign. It operates and drives just like you would your ICE car. So it's an easy car to acclimatize to if it's your first EV. And as a first EV, it's a really good one.